Gears of War is a video game franchise that was created by Epic Games and developed and managed by the Coalition, which is a part of the Xbox Game Studio. While Coalition was founded in 2010, Epic Games was founded in 1991 by Tim Sweeney, and the company has since produced many other games, including a little something you might have heard of called Fortnite, as well as Unreal and the Infinity Blade series. Gears of War is set on an Earth-like planet called Sera, where two species battle for survival as vital resources like fuel become scarcer and scarcer, just like every other post-apocalyptic story, and it's not too late to start believing in global warming, by the way. The war takes place between humanity and a reptilian humanoid race called the Locust Horde, where humanity is led by Marcus Fenix, who's set to annihilate the latter through any means possible. This action-packed post-apocalyptic sci-fi game was first released in 2006 and has since received a number of sequels, follow-ups, and spin-offs. However, what fans await the most is a movie version of the game, which began development sometime in 2007, but has since either been dropped or put on hold indefinitely. As fans like us await further news regarding the progress of the movie, buckle up as we take a look at all the information we've gathered regarding this film that's come out since the mid-2000s. No reassurances here, but I'm sure we're all adults, right? Right? Mostly. Let's get into it.
She's stunned. Target her now.
So, what exactly is this Gears of War movie? The first person in Hollywood to take up the project was writer Stuart Beattie in 2007. It was put into motion by Temple Hill Entertainment, and writer Marty Bowen also joined in. Wick Godfrey joined the project as producer, stating, "I'm not a gamer, but what blew me away about Gears was how it captures the mythology of a war mission and how high the stakes are." Len Wiseman was in the process of being selected as director for the possible adaptation. By 2008, the director was confirmed along with script rewriter Chris Morgan, who was responsible for Fast and Furious, Red 1, and The Mummy. Further talks and statements from the production team started raising expectations from fans, especially when they started using terms like huge production and hyper-realistic CGI and VFX. Some writers suggested that the film would explore the origins of the Gears story, stating that the story would focus on how Marcus Fenix got his signature scar. But then, some sources said that the movies would discuss the events from the Emergence Day, or E-Day, the day that the war between the Locust and the humans really got underway. Furthermore, the game's creator, Cliff Bleszinski, would also discuss the movie at events like Comic-Con, suggesting the film would star acclaimed actress Kate Beckinsale from Van Helsing, Underworld, and Click as Maria Santiago. Beattie and Bleszinski further started talking about other characters like Marcus Fenix, the robot assistant Jack, and Dominic Santiago, who would also appear in the film. But of course, these were just early tidbits and rumors which began circulating around the project when it was first announced in 2007. How Hollywood first tried to adapt Gears and kept failing. Unfortunately, in 2010, it was announced that Len Wiseman had left the project, which also meant that Kate Beckinsale wouldn't join as a cast member. This happened due to a huge budget cut that was made by New Line Cinema. According to sources, the budget cut was significant given that a whopping $100 million had been earmarked to produce the film. After this budget cut, Wiseman decided to opt out of directing the film altogether. Writers also began dropping from the film due to inconsistencies, and fans worldwide began to get the impression that the film had been shelved. However, at the 2010 Comic-Con, Bleszinski once again tried to reassure fans that the film was currently being rewritten at the time and would be released sometime around 2012. Of course, this led to some fans speculating that the world would end before they ever got to see the Gears of War movie. From Universal dead end to Netflix deal. After being picked up and then shelved, production for this adaptation of the bleak action franchise also appeared, well, bleak, at least until it was announced in 2013 that the TED director, Scott Stuber, was set to produce the film in collaboration with Epic Games. Since Gears of War 4 was being released in 2016, it was announced that Scott Stuber and Dylan Clark would produce a film adaptation alongside the video game release the same year. The stakes became even higher when Rod Ferguson announced in a live stream that the film was now being produced by not only Universal Studios, but also Microsoft. The narrative that the film would come out eventually was kept intact, as was promised by the head of the studio. However, the directors and writers kept changing, and producers would keep taking and dropping the project. This can be understood when looking back to 2012 itself, when creative artists agencies started looking for new producers to set up the project elsewhere after Wiseman had confirmed that he had left the project due to the huge budget cuts. Then, in 2013, it was announced that Scott Stuber would produce the film, and by 2016, it was said that that the movie would be completed under his and Dylan Clark's supervision alongside Gears of War 4. Then, in 2017, it was announced that Shane Salerno from Armageddon and Shaft would be working as a writer for the film, followed by F. Scott Fraser, who did some writing for XXX, Xander Cage, and Collide, with Ferguson also announcing that the story would be set in an alternate reality and not based on canon events within the game in 2019. So yeah, as you can imagine, pretty much everybody had lost faith at this point. And then, on the 6th of November, 2022, it was announced that the rights for a film and animation series adaptation for Gears of War had been bought by Netflix. This was a pretty huge Hail Mary for fans of the game who really wanted to see that movie. No correlation with Project Hail Mary whatsoever, of course. Who's steering the movie now? Director, writer, producers. After the 2022 announcement, we were met with more promising news about the writers and directors being considered for the project. We were first told that John Spates from Dune would be joining the project as the scriptwriter in 2023, and in 2025 we were told that David Leitch from The Fall Guy and Bullet Train would be joining as director. Get ready for a bunch of sarcastic quips, I guess. We also had the creatives commenting side by side when this news first broke, how Netflix had been collaborating with Coalition to not only make a movie, but also an adult animated series based on the game. Some of the comments were from Kelly McCormick, Leitch's production partner, who said that the team was excited to be involved in a project like this, mostly because they hadn't worked with science fiction on a scale this massive, and that Leitch would be adding his own style to the plot. She also added that John Spates had been working on writing a script for the film. However, she added that since the game would be released by 2026, they wouldn't have time to finish the movie by then. I mean, what, were you expecting good news? This particular statement was shared last year, and this year, Leitch added that the movie is definitely happening, saying he was 100% positive about the way the movie was taking shape, as a fixed draft had been decided on. It was again a relief to hear such news after the producer, Stuber, announced in 2023 that they hadn't received much when it came to scripts, but he did assure the loyal fan base that they are still very much in the process of making the film, and that's literally the most we've been able to get from him. Such comments definitely give us more hope compared to how the project went back and forth from one director to another and one producer to another in the past, with some leaving the project altogether because they felt they wouldn't be able to do justice to the film with a limited budget. So, what story could this movie actually tell? Speaking of scripts, during previous attempts in the mid-2000s to the mid-2010s, several attempts to come up with a story for the movie were made. The producers wanted to work alongside the plot of the movie, where they would discuss details such as the scar the main character, Marcus Fenix, got within the game, to flirting with the idea of coming up with a different story that would be set within the same universe. Such indecision often brought a lot of confusion, and the constant change of actors, directors, and writers certainly didn't help produce any actual updates regarding the long-awaited adaptation. Even now, script-wise, we don't have much to tell you about what's going to happen in the film, at least according to Hollywood Reporter. However, fans speculate that the film will most likely follow the premise of the first game, which takes place in the future. It would be set on the planet Sera, which resembles Earth, where an ongoing battle between the humans and Locust is being fought over vital resources. If Netflix were to follow this particular narrative, it would not only include Delta Squad, but also their de facto leader, Marcus Fenix, who will be discussed even more in the next segment. Casting dreams versus what's real right now. In the early 2000s, with fans first anticipating an adaptation of Gears of War, most of them were in favor of Kate Beckinsale to star as Maria Santiago, the wife of Dominic Santiago. I know that doesn't sound ideal, but it was the early 2000s. It was pretty much either her or Mila Jovovich. However, when Wiseman backed out from the film, it meant fans would never get to see Beckinsale embody the role of Maria Santiago. And honestly, thank God. But this didn't stop them, as they had found bigger aspirations once they found out that former famous wrestler Dave Bautista had not only been dying to see this adaptation come to life, but also wanted to star in it as Marcus Fenix. This enthusiasm was met with a lot of positivity by the fans, and even the creator Cliff Bleszinski. Yet things are never that easy, are they? With almost no details regarding the plot, there's also no updates regarding the casting, leading the fans to further speculate that a person like Bautista, as enthusiastic as he is to play the leading role, might not end up getting the part due to his age. While the former wrestler has told his fans to start a petition, gently nudging Netflix over and over again, it's still uncertain if we'll see this beloved actor in this particular franchise. why the movie keeps slipping, and why we think it might actually escape development hell. With how different the energy is surrounding the movie compared to a decade ago, it's no longer a complete uncertainty that this project might actually get completed. While it's created a lot of doubt due to past slippages, with the rights of movies getting pushed back and forth between creators, the creators have actually remained the same since 2023. It's still a fact that Spates is writing the script under Leitch's meticulous direction, and the only issue is that this movie might miss the game's launch window as Gears of War E-Day gets ready to hit the market this year. Furthermore, Netflix and Coalition are not just planning on releasing a movie, but also an animated series. Said series might explore different time periods within the franchise, like the Pendulum Wars, which also focuses on the love story between Dominic and Maria and how their union takes place. The earliest release date we can be optimistic about is in 2027, and while even that is far-fetched, it's good to have hope, especially considering the fact the rights now belong to Netflix, who are dead set on releasing every other movie on its platform, or at least every other movie besides this one, it seems. Buck up, Gears fans. At least the movie's no longer just a theory, we might actually get to see it someday. As Bautista suggested, keep pushing the creative leads over and over, and something will definitely come of it. And while you're at it, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more news on your favorite anime, gaming, or movie franchises. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and we'll see ya in the next one.